this podcast, The Good Guys, which has Josh Peck, who was as one of the co-hosts, who was on that show Drake and Josh that I used to watch on Nickelodeon
years ago, right?
And he's so great. I actually just saw him speak at a Meta event for some influencers at the Facebook offices, Instagram offices, but he finally had Drake, his old Nickelodeon co-host, on his podcast, and that was like a long-awaited thing. So it's in 2 parts, and I've seen some clips online, and people are like really interested to see them back together again. And then obviously there's that bad past that Drake unfortunately went through. I watched the documentary Quiet on Set. That was a year ago, I think, at this point.
I think so many, and we didn't know about it, so many of these child actors in the 60s and 70s.
Oh, no, but this was the
80s.
early 2000s.
Yeah, but it started even earlier than that. If you go back, there are a whole load of stories on this where people on set abused these children, whether they touched them or they did inappropriate, speaking to them inappropriately. This was it was a very sad moment, I think, and most of them are very deeply scarred from it, which this young man is now talking about openly.
Yeah, he's been talking about it
which is healing for him,
bit
too.
Of time now. And the whole thing is so sad also because it's like you are confused and impressionable and you want a career and you think
they're trying to please their adults around them. And
then they distance the people in power, they distance the children from their families too. Right.
Well, this doesn't only happen in acting. You know, it's happened in sports, and so many of the women athletes have discussed their coaches and how they've inappropriately done things with them and ruined their lives. And when parents abrogate their position of authority and hand it over to another adult, they better make sure that those adults are really
but you can think you're really watching somebody, and it's really sometimes, yes, it's the parents' involvement, but sometimes it's also just systematically like these institutions changing their ways and having things in place to like make sure they're taking care of their people.
Well, it's a lot of pretty sick people out there, let's face it. Yeah. And unfortunately, they always go after the weakest.
Yeah.
And children actors or children athletes or whatever, children scholars are the easiest prey.
Yeah.
Because they're afraid to speak up.
Right. And we've been talking about this issue now since the documentary. It's been like a year, as I said. But I think it'll be interesting also to be listening to the conversation with Josh, because I feel like he was on set with him every day as children and he didn't even know what was going on. So hearing them relive it that way, and they just had like the most fun dynamic.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad he's starting to heal.
Yeah, I'm excited to listen.